Welcome back, degenerates, to Place Your Bets. I'm Tyler James. He's the one and only Eric Hansen. We cover Notre Dame football, recruiting, and more for InsideNDSports.com on the Rivals Network. And we like to make prop bets and predictions about Notre Dame football. Our season-long competition on the Inside Lounge rewards the first-place subscriber with a free 12-month extension of their subscription, and second place gets 6 free months. There's a thread to submit your picks over on the Insider Lounge, and it's listed in the video description below. The late pick 6 by Luke Talich last Saturday, Eric, forced a push on our FSU punts and ND touchdowns prop bet. So we only had 4 correct answers possible, and it ended up being a tough week because no one got all 4 of those right, and only 5 ended up hitting 3 of them. But, Eric, you were one of them. The other 4 were Rover 219, Scott Claracy, We Are ND, and B. Schaffler. I think you might have cheated off Scott Claracy if I'm going to start some rumors, but I struggled myself with just 2 correct answer. How does it feel to get back on the winning end?
Well, it's really sad if you cheated and only got 2 right. I feel pretty good, and I feel not so bad about the fun one that I got wrong. I don't even know. I'm not even sure if I'll get the fun one right this week.
All right, yeah, it's a good thing we don't count the fun ones because you had no idea.
Now wait a second. I should get credit for knowing the opening fanfare was from Hollywood Swinging, which is Cool in the Gang. That's from my era, and I got that in 5 notes.
All right. Well, you're up 2 on me in the season standings. You have 26. I have 24. Our leader remains BMM 2834 with 31, but there is a crowd that's starting to form behind them, so it's going to be an interesting race to the finish line here. So let's get rolling with another swing at some prop bets for Saturday's Notre Dame home game against Virginia. First one I have for us, Eric, is will any Notre Dame player have more tackles than linebacker Jack Kiser?
I'm going yes, because you're giving me the whole rest of the team. And Kiser is the leading tackler on the team this year by a small margin over Drake Bowen. So I'm going to just take the odds and go with somebody else, even though Jack Kiser's a good choice.
I'm going with no. I think he's going to set the record for career games played at Notre Dame with 63, and then he's also going to finish the game at least tied as the
well, wait a second.
tackler.
So being tied counts?
Well, yeah.
That would be a push.
Well, no. Will anyone have more than him? That's why I worded it that way. The wording matters.
I'm still going to stay with my pick.
All right.
You're just trying to trick me. You're trying to trick Scott and I to cheat.
I don't know. I think it's pretty clear. Usually when it's not over and under or something simple like that, the wording is intentional. So I'm trying to avoid the pushes, even though we seem to always run into them, and we might end up with one this week as well. But it won't be in the Jack Kiser category. All right, next one is over under 3.5 catches for Notre Dame wide receiver Jaden Greathouse.
So is it a half a catch if he gets a half a foot in bounds?
That's right. If it gets overturned by review, it's a half a catch.
He had 5, which was his season, and I think career high tying total last week. He seems to be in a really good groove, and yet Notre Dame plays so many receivers, and I'm just going to take the odds that I'm going with pragmatism here. I'm going that it will be under.
Yeah, he's only had 3 games with 4 more catches this year. He did have 5 last week, like you mentioned, but I think it's like predicting who is going to be the receiver of note or who's going to have more catches or more receiving yards on a weekly basis is really hard with this Notre Dame offense right now. They're just not that. It's not that predictable or routine or consistent to know how it's going to play out, and so for those reasons, I'm going to stick with the under. All right, what's the higher number on Saturday for Riley Leonard? Rushing touchdowns or passing touchdowns?
Well, I think that it's going to be rushing touchdowns. It generally is. And I think Virginia's run defense is a little bit more formidable than some of the teams that Notre Dame's been playing lately. And they'll need him in the red zone to run the ball. And I like the way Deion Colsey blocked for him, so I will go with Riley Leonard. in the rushing touchdown.
I was going to say, well, Riley Leonard's the question.
Hey, words matter. I'm going with Riley Leonard.
I'm going the other way with passing touchdowns. Not necessarily a lot of rhyme or reason to it,
because you'll be wrong.
But I'm just trying to go the other way. He has outthrown his rushing in games this season. Although for this season he has thrown or rushed for more than he has thrown. So we'll see if he can do that on Saturday. So I'm going to go with passing touchdowns. And the way things have been going, my guess is it'll end up a push, because that's how all these ones that I try to get creative on comparing numbers end up going. All right, next one, over under 3.5 catches for Virginia wide receiver Chris Tyree.
Chris was injured kind of in the middle of the season, and he's coming back, and he had a really good game against Pitt. His average per catch is like 5.6 yards, which is really odd. He's going to be jacked up to play against Notre Dame, but I think he's going to draw Jordan Clark, so I don't like that matchup for him, and I like that to be an under.
Yeah, I'm going under as well. The last time I went with a player on the opposing team that had a Notre Dame connection, Cedric Irvin for Stanford, he didn't do anything. So I'm not trying to play any tricks here. I have no indication that Chris Tyree won't play. I expect him to play.
He's listed as the starter.
I'm still gonna predict the under there. He's had four games, he's had 4+ catches, I think 4 times this season. So he has been somewhat productive, but not nearly as productive as I think many thought he would be going into the season. All right. Will Notre Dame defensive tackle Riley Mills have at least 1 sack?
If there is a gimme in this whole season of place your bets, this is the one, and I'm going to regret this if he doesn't get it. But come on, Virginia in the last 2 weeks has given up a total of 16 sacks. If Riley Leonard isn't eaten on Saturday, something's wrong.
Riley Mills.
Riley Leonard and Riley Mills. Riley Leonard will get a sack against Virginia.
Hopefully Riley Leonard isn't getting eaten by Virginia's pass rush.
They're going to put him in at defensive tackle. He's going to get a sack too. Riley Mills will have at least 1 sack. I think Sean Sevillano may get a sack in this game.
Yeah, Virginia gave up that 16. 10 of them came against North Carolina a couple weeks ago, and that's just brutal. I was looking at Anthony Calandria's rushing numbers, and he has so many carries, but part of it's because he's been sacked so many times.
He's carrying it to the ground.
Yeah,
he is a dual threat guy. I do think he's a good quarterback, but their line has not protected him well the last 3 weeks, really. 20 in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, they've been struggling, so I'm going to predict Riley Mills to get a sack on senior day as well. All right, time for our fun one, which requires no musical recognition for Eric this week. Which senior will get the largest ovation prior to the game?
That's a hard one because you're not sure who they're going to roll out as a senior. There's 9 from the true senior class of 2024. I did a story on that, a 27-person class, and there will be 9 of them celebrating senior day, and 2 of them probably with leg braces on. I'm going to go with Xavier Watts, who actually does have another year, but I don't think would take it. He has a COVID exemption year. I would think the guy that's the All-American would get them, and he's a great story. So Xavier Watts.
Yeah, that was my pick as well. I think Notre Dame fans probably have the most appreciation for him among all the players. Yeah, and rightfully so. It's certainly well deserved. And to send him out with a senior day after he came back last season, I think he'll probably get the loudest ovation on Saturday.
He's also the guy that's made me most right on a guy going out on a limb for somebody. When he got switched to safety, I said, I think he's going to be really good there.
All right. What is your final score prediction for Notre Dame, Virginia?
I'm taking the final score from Georgia Tech, Notre Dame, cutting it and pasting it in this week as 31-13.
All right. I'm going with Notre Dame 45, Virginia 10. So that's a bit farther off than we've been on a number of our scores, but I just think Notre Dame's going to be able to put up some good points against this Virginia team. and keep the momentum rolling that it's been building for a number of weeks now. All right.
This was your trap game. This was your original trap game. And
it was
45-10.
It was,
okay.
but Virginia.
But you're trapped. You're caught in a trap.
Yeah.
Elvis sang that song.
I've changed my mind. I thought Notre Dame would lose another game this season, and I said a couple weeks ago that I had changed my stance on that. And I know that may be a sin for some, but I feel like Notre Dame's able to beat this Virginia team. I don't think this Virginia team has been as sneaky competitive as I thought it might be, and certainly was able to beat Pitt last week, but had a really rough 3-game stretch there before that. And I think it'll be more of that than last week for the Cavaliers. All right, that is it for Place Your Bets. Best of luck to everyone with their predictions. Enjoy another Saturday of college football, and we'll talk to you after the game.